Hey essay writers, welcome to week 6. Two things. First of all, I want to mention that the last essay you write in this class is going to be your choice of essay. So you may do one of the types that we will have completed, which we've done personal narrative and persuasive essay, and this week's going to be analytical essay. So you might do one of those three. You also, I know some people might have a particular essay in mind, a college entrance essay of some sort, or an essay that's due for another class. If that is the case with you and you have something specific you think you'd like to work on, please let me know by Wednesday of this week, so that if you have a prompt or anything in particular, a particular assignment, particular question you're supposed to answer, so that I can have a look at that and really be able to help you directly with the essay you intend to write. Otherwise, if you don't have a specific assignment in mind, that's fine. You can decide next week which essay you'd like to write. So that's it for last essay. Now, I said two things. Second thing is this week's essay. Let's talk about that. It's an analytical essay, and the point of an analytical essay is to take a work of some sort that already exists, whether that is a novel or a short story or an article you read in the newspaper, an editorial, an essay. It could be an advertisement, could be a work of poetry, or maybe a song lyric. So you take something that already exists and you analyze it, and then this essay is your analysis of that work. So the first thing that you have to do is decide what it is you want to analyze. The second thing that's very helpful is if you have a, let's say it's a small piece like a poem or an advertisement, annotating it is an awesome thing to be able to do. And what I mean by annotate is to actually take that work as it exists and scribble in the margins. Make a photocopy if you don't want to write in a book or in a magazine in which you find your piece. But you begin to scribble in the margins and point out different things that stand out to you. And as you identify all the different interesting pieces of this poem or song or essay or short story or advertisement, an idea of what your overall analysis is may begin to form. And your analysis, how you interpret that piece, what you think is important, what you think it's saying. Also, another tactic, instead of simply interpreting, you might decide whether or not it's effective. So if someone has presented an argument, your analytical essay may be analyzing the argument to say whether it's a good one or a bad one, strong or weak, whether an ad is effective at doing what it's attempting to do or not. So you are analyzing content that already exists. First step, that's very helpful, annotating, taking it, making your notes, figuring out what you think. I've said first step. We'll call that step A. And then we move into step 1 from there. There are two different approaches, and I've been talking about different things you could analyze. Depending on what it is you're analyzing and what you want to say about it, you might take one of two approaches. If you are working with a novel or a larger piece, I wrote down here novel, essay, short story, advertisement, bigger works, you might identify a theme or pattern that you notice in the work, and then what your essay is about is showing how you know that. Because what you're doing in an analytical essay is interpreting it and then saying to someone, this is how I see it and this is why I'm right. So you're trying to, it's almost persuasive. You're trying to convince people you know what you're talking about here. If you were doing a poem or a song lyric, again, you would be offering an overall interpretation, but you might go about it ever so slightly differently, because you might interpret a poem line by line in order to show your reader exactly what each piece means and why your interpretation is correct of this piece. So, regardless of which you're doing, a larger work that you identify an overall theme and then show how you know it, or a shorter work that you interpret piece by piece to prove to your reader that you are correct, the first thing that you will do is develop a thesis statement. And we've talked a little bit about thesis statements, but in the case of an analytical essay, your thesis statement is going to express your interpretation, what you believe the overall message of the piece is. Or if it were a novel, you might be coming up with a theme that exists within the novel and saying humans have the capacity for both good and evil. That's a strong theme in this book. And then your body paragraphs would be examples from the book that illustrate that, oh yes, this theme comes up over and over again, and it's clear the author was hammering away at this. So that would be a potential thesis statement. The theme that humans have the capacity for good and evil arises again and again in the book. Or if you were analyzing an argument someone had presented, then let's say someone was arguing for year-round school. People are always talking about whether school should have summer breaks or if students should continue to attend year-round. So let's say you read an article that suggested students should have year-round school, then you might analyze that argument, and your thesis statement might be Belinda Ray's argument that students should attend school on a year-round basis is full of holes and bias and does not hold water. And then you would go on in your body paragraphs to point out all the flaws in my argument and why it simply doesn't make sense, and convincing someone that your analysis of my argument is correct. It's weak. It's a weak argument. On the other hand, you might think someone's made a strong argument, and that could be your thesis. It's an excellent argument. She has a wonderful point. School should go year-round, and this is why it's a good argument. If you are doing poetry or a song lyric, then you might, in your thesis statement, say, I can't think of a song off the top of my head. Let's just go with The Wheels on the Bus, okay? People think The Wheels on the Bus is a harmless song that children sing, when in truth, it is about the disintegration of society. Okay, I'm not so sure that's true, but if that's what you want to do, you want to analyze the children's song, The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round, and prove that it is not a harmless lyric, that it actually has to do with the disintegration of our entire society, then what you're going to do is state your thesis, saying exactly that, and then go through piece by piece this song. The wipers on the bus go swish, swish, swish is clearly a reference to the great flood that's coming. I don't know where I'm going with this. I haven't thought it through clearly. But you see what I mean. You'd go through lyric after lyric and point out exactly why this is obviously a song about the end of the world. I don't think it is. Anyway, piece by piece, or with a big theme, big pattern, strong or weak argument. Either way, form your thesis first. Next thing you're going to do is step 2. You're either, if it is the wheels on the bus approach, you're either going to go through line by line and interpret it for us. And I say line by line, but you don't have to interpret every single line. You just want to start at the beginning and pick out the significant lines and explain what they mean and how each of these lines shows that, yes, this song really is about X or Y. If you are doing an overall theme or an overall tone, or whether an argument is right or wrong, or, I didn't even mention advertisements, whether or not an advertisement is effective, or what it is that the advertisement's actually trying to appeal to. Ads are very sneaky, and you might have an ad for a tire that for some reason has a lot of trees and flowers and berries, and you start to see that what they're trying to do is make you feel like this tire doesn't have anything to do with peak oil consumption or fossil fuels. No, it's very natural, and we can all feel good about buying this tire. It's good for the world, it's good for the environment. So looking at what's behind the images in an ad, you would offer all of your support in the form of 3 body paragraphs over here. Now, you'll see on the bottom I have advertisement listed on both sides, and that's because you can tackle an advertisement either way. You can go through image by image, pointing things out to support your thesis, or you can say this is the overall theme and offer 3 body paragraphs that address the tone, the overall tone of the ad and the images and what's there and how they all contribute to that theme. Now, after you have formed your thesis, offered your support, your final step is going to be to write your conclusion. And the simplest approach to a conclusion in any kind of essay is really to make sure you are, again, bringing it full circle, restating whatever your thesis was in different words, summarizing your main points. The conclusion is where you hammer it home. You remind the person what the essay was supposed to be about and show them that, yeah, I really did prove what I was trying to prove, as you can tell by reading my marvelous conclusion. So that is the basic setup for the analytical essay. And you are definitely encouraged to tackle whatever you would like to analyze. I wouldn't suggest that you choose a book to read this week and analyze. You might want to analyze something you have read and know well already if you're doing something that large. A quick thing to analyze, I really think advertisements are wonderful this way, and I will be putting some examples on the website in an analytical essay, sample analytical essays folder, where you will have both advertisements and a sample essay that deconstructs the advertisement. I have one that is an article on big box stores where someone has made an argument about big box stores and someone else has analyzed that person's argument and said they don't think it's a very good one, and this is why. There is an example of a literary analysis of the introduction of the novel In Cold Blood by Truman Capote, which you don't have to have read to read and appreciate the analysis. And I found a song lyric analysis online, which I think is pretty good, and it was just someone's high school English paper, but that's available to you. I don't know the song Hero of War by Rise Against. And the essay was written in 2012, so maybe some of you guys know that song. I don't know. But it's pretty well done, and it follows the basic 5-paragraph structure. So those examples should help you to get a good idea of what a final analytical essay will look at. But the best thing for you is going to be to find something thought-provoking for you. Get a bunch of ideas about it. See if there's an overall message or tone or pattern. Work that into a thesis statement. And you know what you could do? You could even start yourself with, this is what I see. And then write what you see. And somewhere in there is going to be your thesis statement. You can refine it later. And then after this is what I see, this is how I know I'm right. And you can come up with your support. And from there, when you have that information, you'll be ready to put your essay together.